To the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashama Mashiach, Malak Yahushua. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty brothers that go out there and labor on the highways and byways, making their body live a sacrifice. And the rain, the tumults, the demons, the uprisings, the uproars, they're out there standing 10 toes down for the name of the Lord. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty brothers that are not out there as of yet, but they're building themselves up. Reading, praying, fasting, right, taking notes, doing everything they can do to put themselves in a position to shake the hand, to wake up the hopeful elect. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty Akwaf in this thing, that actually sincerely reverence their husbands, being teachers of good things to the children at home, being quiet, shamefaced, submissive, loving, steadfast, cooking, sewing, cleaning, doing all of the righteous acts of our foremothers on fire for the Lord. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty Akwaf that are not married as of yet, remaining shamefaced, submissive, diligent, doing everything they could do to magnify the name of the Lord and help the ministry. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty children in this thing, abstaining from all lust, concupiscence, and peer pressure, standing 10 toes down for the name of Yahweh and the name of his saint Yahushua. And last but not least, another strong shalom to the whole entire nation that's reading, praying, fasting, making their body live in sacrifice, doing everything they could do to magnify the name of the Lord. Right, there's going to be a breakdown on worth ethic. You understand? Strength, working, being mentally strong, understanding that this life and everything in it isn't going to be easy, man. You have to work to obtain the type of knowledge you want. You have to work to attain the type of marriage you want. You have to work to get the type of mercy that you want from the Lord. With strong crying, fasting, praying, reading, everything, it boils down to work ethic. The more you work, the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. Did not the Lord say you're going to reap what you sow? If you put in hard laboring, reading, fasting, a mentality to serve the Lord, casting off the flesh, not having fun, and continuously building, what do you think you're going to get out of that, man? You're going to get a better household, a better marriage, a better spirit, a better mind, a better soul. And the Lord is going to continue to build you up. Because man is like what? Man is like a house, a tabernacle. And the more you're solidly founded on your Yahushua and making sure that your house is in order with the pillars, the foundation is laid, you're wiping away all of the cracks, the holes, and the things that are breaking it down, the stronger you're going to be, man. Well, let me get this quick precept. This is the book of Mark, chapter 1, and I'm going to start at verse number 32. And at even, when the sun did set, they brought unto him all that were diseased. So at eventime, the Lord was doing all of the work all day long, man. But then when evening comes, like it's a spirit to where it's like you're off of work. You can relax. It's eventime. Kick back, take your boots off, man. Jump in the bed, jump on the couch. Chill with your wife and children. The Lord didn't have that mentality, nor did he have that luxury or a lot to be able to rest, man. What if the brother that woke you up in the truth through the hand of Yahweh Shem Yahushua took that day off and he didn't go on the highways and byways? What if you'd have never heard the video that woke you up to the truth because he took a day off? What if your wife took the day off cooking, man? Then the children don't eat. What if the ministers and the prophets and the men that labor week in, week out, videos, fasting, praying, leadership, constructing and making sure that the nation is in order, what if they took the day off, man? You can't take the day off in this truth. Once you take the day off, you're making provisions for the flesh, and the Lord is going to break you down slowly. And you're going to see the fruit of how strong it was to continue week in, week out, day by day, to continue to labor. Right? It says this, and at even, when the sun did set, they brought unto him all that were diseased, and them that were possessed with devils. And all the city was gathered together at the door, man. I mean, what type of spirit do you have if it really depended on it that the whole nation was at your door, beating on your door, man? Would you be asleep? Would you be tossing and turning? Would your mind is like a co-worker? I'll talk to him in the morning. Fasted to my secretary. Pushed it to my assistant. What would be your type of spirit if the whole nation depended on you, man? Would the nation perish tomorrow? Would the wives and the children be given up to spoil by demons? Would the whole city be ransacked and besieged and overthrown? The mentality and spirit that you have with the laboring that you put in right now, how would the city and the nation fare well? It says this, and he healed many that were sick of diverse diseases, and casted out many devils, and suffered the devils, like and suffered not the devils to speak, because they knew him. And in the morning, rising up a great while before day. So from all the way to the nighttime, to the middle of the night, from laboring all day, early in the morning, what was the Lord's mentality? I have to wake up. Somebody needs me. Somebody needs clothes, shelter, mentality, wisdom. Somebody needs to be woken up to be strengthened. Your mind as a laborer is to never stop laboring. Ants never stop laboring, man. Week in, week out, you always see ants. They're pushing those grapes, pushing those strawberries. They're strengthening up one another. They're climbing on one another's backs, making ladders. Right? These men are actually putting together a whole colony. Brick by brick, stone by stone, gravel by gravel, sand by sand, dust by dust, moving mortar and brick. You understand? These ants, they don't sleep, man. It says this. And in the morning, rising up a great while before day, he went out and departed into a solitary place and prayed. So like in there prayed. So the Lord, his mentality wasn't to get no sleep, man. You sleep, like they say, when you're 6 feet deep, man. You sleep when you get the kingdom. That's when you can finally rest. But until then, it's work to do, man. It's too much work to do to be taking a day off. Let me get 1 Chronicles chapter 9. This 1 Chronicles chapter 9 and verse 33. And these are the singers, chief of the fathers of the Levites, who remaining in the chambers were free, for they were employed in that work day and night. So it says that the Levites who remained in the chambers, they didn't go out for vacation. They didn't take the day off. They didn't make provisions for the flesh. Those men were prisoners to their office. If you're a wife, you have to understand your life shouldn't be mapped off of these wicked women that be on the beach half naked, sipping pina coladas and having fun all day, man. Your glory and your honor is serving your husband. It is helping the household, man. And if it deems fit of the Most High, by Hashem Yahushua, you're going to get the kingdom sevenfold over and be with all of the holy women that have endured the same lot that you're suffering right now, man. The same with the brothers. Paul has caught ships. Paul has been on foot. Right? You got a lot of men, they done rode beasts. They'd have been on foot in journeys through clefts, valleys, rocks, mountains, all type of diverse seasons, all to do the work of the Lord, man. It said they were employed in that work day and night. Don't you know the Lord has literally hired you into his vineyard to work? You're not in here to be pretty or to be handsome or to be cool or to be popular, man. What happens in a vineyard? You work in it. What does the Lord call his prophets? The keepers. Men that tillage. Adam was the keeper, man. We're the keepers of the tillage in the field, and we have to work in it, man. Otherwise, we're useful. Let me get this quick precept. Let's go to 2 Chronicles, chapter 29. This is 2 Chronicles, right? Chapter 29, and I'm going to start at verse number 2. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that David his father had done. He, in the first year of his reign, in the first month, opened the doors of the house of the Lord and repaired them. So when Hezekiah came, you understand, into power as a king, his first mindset is to do what? To do work on the house of God, man. You have to work up your house. Whether that's mentally, you have to make sure you're in a good mental stability and mind state. Because if your mind's not right, you won't be able to labor like you want to. You won't be able to treat your wife like you want to. Take care of your kids like you want to. Be able to work and sustain the job and help brothers and counsel and direct and make sure that everything's in order. So mental stability is very strong. Health. If you're not healthy to be able to labor, you understand, with a good diet, with fruits, with nuts, with berries, with vegetables, you understand, with water, hydration, and all of these different things, you wouldn't be able to do the things that men do, right? And even spiritually, man, if you got demons on you, all type of plagues of the mind, beating you down with depression, anxiety, and all type of evil communications, whispering in your back ear that you're taking heed to and having conversations, you're not going to be able to labor like you need to. You need to clean out the house, man. Hezekiah, what did he do? He repaired the house of God, and he brought in the priests and the Levites and gathered them together into the east street And he said unto them, hear me, ye Levites, sanctify now yourselves, and sanctify the house of the Lord God of your fathers, and carry forth the filthiness out of the holy place, man. So the first thing he needed to do, and that he did do as a king, is carry out all of the filthiness, man. All of the philosophies, all of the doctrines, all of the evil communication, all of the lust, all of the fornication, all of a wicked mind state, all of the slothfulness, man. He got clean the house of God so you can do what? So that you can do the service in the house of God. How can you do the service in the house of God and you got the house of God filled with demons? What is the house of God? You are the temple. You are literally the tabernacle. You're going to be the one to offer up spiritual sacrifices to our high priest, Melchizedek, which is Yahweh, man. You're going to be the one to do the things that need to be done to get the peace offering, to get the love offering, to get the Thanksgiving offering, to get all of these different things purged out so that it's clean before the Most High God. Let me get this quick precept. Because you got to work. Right? I mean, no, the Lord isn't dealing with a slothful man. And if you're slothful in the work of God, that says a lot about how much you care about the Most High. That says a lot about your faith. And if you really believe in this thing, man. Yeah, belief should be predicated on your work ethic. You can't tell your wife you love her all day and you never seen her before, man. You only seen her that one time. Y'all laid down and then you just on the phone 24/7. Or you just moved to Arkansas somewhere and now you just check on her from time to time. No, everything that you do should be proclaimed physically, man. They should physically be able to see it. Right? This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter, let me get this quick precept, 13 and verse number 5. I'm going to start at 4. And before Elishabib the priest, having the oversight of the chambers of the house of God, was allied unto Tobiah. So Elishabib, he was the priest, and he had the oversight of all of the chambers. The chambers are the specific rooms where you would do sacrifices, where you would have in the temple of God. He was allied with the heathen. But he was only allied with the heathen when Nehemiah stepped away. Because Nehemiah had the type of worth ethic that when he came around, everything was in order. The house was in order. The priest was in order. The porters were on it. The governors were in order. All of the men and the nobles and the men that he labored with and that he was around, the nation was in order. And he prepared for him a great chamber, where aforetime they laid the meat offering and frankincense and vessels and tithes of the corn and new wine and the oil, which was commanded to be given to the Levites and the singers and the porters and the offerings of the priests. So he prepared himself a great chamber. Now he took out all of the chief things, the frankincense, the vessels, the corn, the wine, the oil. He wasn't overseeing the house like he should have been with all of those chief things of the Most High. But in all this time, was I not at Jerusalem? So when Elishabib the priest was going off, Nehemiah wasn't at Jerusalem, right? So having somebody around with a strong worth ethic can make or break a nation, can make or break your household, can make or break your brother, can make or break you and your wife, man. If you perceive that your brother is down or not as strong as he could be, you have to understand that these things were from old. And I came to Jerusalem and understood of the evil that Elishabib did for Tobiah and preparing him a chamber in the courts of the house of God. Now, when he prepared him a chamber, he had the heathen dwelling, you understand, in the chambers of the Most High God, man, in the holy place. That's wicked as hell. So you can work to do wickedness and labor to do wickedness like Elishabib, the priest, on the left-hand side. Or you could work to clean up the temple, man. Because he removed all of the frankincense, all of the vessels, all of the wine, all of the tithes, all of the corn, so that wickedness could be done. So you got to see what you're laboring in, man. Are you on the phone all day? Are you on the internet all day? Are you watching TV all day? What is your mindset of what you're doing? Because you're laboring to do something. No man is just still like a statue all day, and he's not doing anything. Whether you're working mischief, you're laboring to go off, you're laboring to do better, you're laboring to fast, you're laboring and pushing towards something that you're doing day by day, and you have to watch yourself to understand how serious this is. Let's go to the book of 2 Kings, right? To our kings and our fathers and these men that labored and did the work of God. This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 23, and I'm going to start at verse number 4. And the king commanded Hilkiah the high priest, and the priests of the second order, and the keepers of the door, to bring forth out of the temple of the Lord all the vessels that were made for Baal, and for the groove, and for all the host of heaven. And he burned them without Jerusalem in the field of Kedron, and carried the ashes of them unto Bethel. So when you have a righteous man like Josiah, have a righteous man like Hezekiah, you know what they do? They clean out their house. They make sure that they're able to labor. They're able to get the things that they need to have the temple to prosper. It says, and he put down the idolatrous priests, whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places, in the cities of Judah, and the places round about Jerusalem, and all about the burn incense unto Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the host of heaven, man. And he brought out the grove of the house of the Lord without Jerusalem unto the brook Kidron, and burned it, and at the brook Kidron stamped it to small to powder, and cast the powder thereof upon the graves of the children of the people, man. So Josiah cleaned the house. Hezekiah cleaned the house. These were chief men that got the house in order, man. Let me go to 1 Chronicles chapter 27. Let's go to how important it is to work. How important it is to run a nation. How important it is to run and help a household. Women and men, man. This is the book of 1 Chronicles chapter 27. Right? Salaki. 1 Chronicles chapter 27. And I'm going to start at verse number 25. And over the king's treasures was Amaziphath. So the king, he had a treasure, meaning David. David was so in order that he mapped out all of his affairs in order. He had somebody over the field of his vineyard. He had somebody over his treasury. He had somebody over his army. He had men that helped his house. He had the Levites, the priests. He set up all of the men that were of authority. He set up all of the officers. To every teat and every jot and every tittle of his kingdom, he had an order. That takes a lot. He didn't wake up, I'm the king. You just wake up like this, and then you got a bunch of damn concubines feeding him grapes. And he got a big 80-pound crown on his head that he took from the heathens, and he just praises the Lord all day, man. No, it's more than that. David was in order. It says, this man that a treasure was Azimaveth, the son of Adriel, and over the storehouse of the fields in the cities. So out of all David's cities in Jerusalem, he had each individual man over a tillage, whether that be the cornfield, right? Whether that be the tomatoes, right? Whether that be the fruit over here. David set up each man in his office over all the cities of David, which was Jerusalem. And in the village, and in the castles was Jehonathan, the son of Uzziah. So all of David's castles, he had men over his castles. So David, like I said, David wasn't just going to war all day, man, swinging a sword and chopping off the heads of the heathens, while Jerusalem was in an uproar. Nobody knew what to do when David was gone. A real man is going to set his house in order so that if he's there or he's not there, they're going to know what to do. When David wasn't there all the time, David had affairs. He had to talk to other kings. He had to go to other countries. He had to go to war. He had to check on his wives. He had to go on long journeys. And when he did all of these things, the field, the castle, the house, the tillage, all of these things, men were over these offices. Verse 26, and over them that did the work of the field for tillage, the ground was Elizai, the cherub, and over the vineyards was Shimei, the Ramathite, and increased the vineyards for wine cellars. So David had his own wine cellars, man. So when David wanted to sip wine, I mean, he didn't just, and then he just started stomping grapes and, hurry, I want something to drink. No, everybody had their office, man. David had wine cellars, vintages. You got to really think, David wasn't just a warrior. Josiah wasn't just a mighty man of God. Hezekiah wasn't just a king, man. These men and how they ran these kingdoms and these offices showed how they was not slothful. Showed how they believed in the Lord. How the nation ran in order. How things were governed in a righteous spirit. And it wasn't governed in a slothful spirit, man. Nobody's going to respect anybody slothful. If your supervisor came to work with his pants halfway down, right, with donut crust on his beard, and he's just waking up, his crust all in his eyes, and he's telling you to do something, you're not going to respect that. The manager's supposed to be the first one there. The manager's supposed to be the last one to leave. The manager's supposed to be the one on the call, trimming his brakes, making sure that the office, right, the tabernacle, whatever the case may be, the so-called garage or wherever you work, right, is running smooth and in order. Smooth and in order. Smooth and in order. Or your wife's not going to respect you if you're telling her to read and you don't read, man. Right? Your children, you telling them what to do in the spirit, they're not going to listen to you. When your wife look at the man, she's supposed to see a laborer. She's supposed to see Abraham. She's supposed to see Jacob. She's supposed to see Isaiah. She's supposed to see Daniel. She's supposed to see Jeremiah. She's supposed to see a prophet of God. Man that does not care about anything but the work of the Lord. And because he cares so much deeply that is pouring out his flesh and his spirit and his mind, that everything around is subjectly going to bow down to that, because the Lord's going to make a way for that to happen, man. But a man that makes provisions for the flesh, that's slothful, that always has an excuse why he cannot do something. He cannot go to camp. He cannot be on time. He cannot read that extra chapter. He cannot fast this week. The Lord is going to slowly break that man down. And don't think your children and your wife and the nation don't see that, man. She may not say, he kind of falling off. His spirit not right. Your wife not going to tell you everything, man. Your children aren't going to say, I remember when Daddy used, every Monday, he used to do this and do that. Now he's playing a video game. Right? Everybody's not going to come out and tell you certain things, man. And man, the nation may see you falling off. That brother used to teach. He don't even teach no more, man. I wonder what happened to that brother. I wonder why he starts getting broken down, because he wasn't diligent, man. He wasn't consistent. He wasn't enduring that office of work and continuing in it so that it could continue to prosper. Right? Let me get this real fast. It says, matter of fact, I'm gonna stop right here. But when you keep reading all the way down, he had men that was over his flocks, men that were over camels, men that were over herds, men that were over the plains, men that carried his olive trees, men that did all of these different things in offices. You understand? Now let me get this quick precept. Let's go to the mighty book of 2 Samuel. Right, we're going into laboring. How important it is. Right, check this out. This whole thing is fire. Yeah, I'm gonna hold that precept. Let's go to the mighty book of 2 Kings chapter 12. It's 2 Kings chapter 12 and verse 10. And it was so, when they saw there was much money in the chest of the king's scribe, and the high priest came up, and they put in bags and told money that was found in the house of the Lord. And they gave the money, being told, into the hands of them that did the work. So the money of the temple was given into men's hands that did the work. You think the Lord is going to give his money? His money on a deeper level is what? His talents, his wisdom, his understanding, his prophecy, all of the secrets, the parables and the riddles and things that men may or may not know in the scriptures that are hidden. The Lord's not going to give that to a slothful man. A lot of brothers may ask and say all of the time, oh, praise to the Most High, man, I want to get more wisdom. I want to start teaching. I want to be able to prophesy. I want to go into the scriptures. Well, you have to first look at yourself, man. Am I worthy to obtain the type of knowledge that the Most High would give me? Yeah, nobody's worthy on a deeper level, but am I striving for it? Am I actually doing the things in Proverbs, the 2nd chapter, verse 2 all the way down, right, the chiefly 7 and 8? Am I doing these things in righteousness? Am I seeking and searching and crying and beseeching and watching and studying and scribing? Am I doing the things that need to be done to obtain the type of knowledge, grace, and mercy that I'm trying to obtain, man? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. It says that did the work, that he had the oversight of the house of the Lord, and they laid it out to the carpenters and builders that wrought upon the house of the Lord, and to masons and hewers of stone, and to buy timber, and to hew stone to repair the breach of the house of the Lord, for all that was laid out for the house to repair it, man. And your body and your tabernacle needs to be repaired daily. And if you're not searching and examining what needs to be fixed up, what needs to be plastered, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be measured, what needs to be leveled on a plane, you understand what needs to be knocked back in place, All of these different things are very important when you're having an oversight of God's temple, man. Yeah, the temple is the nation, but also we're a stone. And in a stone, we're still a tabernacle and a dwelling place of ourselves. Howbeit, there were not made for the house of the Lord bowls of silver, snuffs, basins, trumpets, any vessel of gold or vessel of silver, of the money that was brought into the house of the Lord. But they gave that to the workmen and repaired therewith the house of the Lord, man. Right, let me get this other quick precept. Let's go to the mighty book of Luke, the 12th chapter. It's the mighty book of Luke, chapter 12, and verse 35. Let your loins be girded about and your lights burning, and ye yourselves like unto men that wait for the Lord, when he will return from the wedding, that when he cometh and knocketh, they may open unto him immediately. Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching. Verily I say unto you, that he shall gird himself and make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them. The Lord said, blessed is that servant when he shall knock and he shall find that he's been watching this whole time. And it gets stressful watching, man. When you watch, you're not just watching in prophecies. You're watching your house, you're watching your family, you're watching your wife, you're watching your body and your mind and your spirit. You're watching these demons that are slowly trailing right behind you. You know when lust is creeping up. You know when envy is creeping up. You know when a double plague of the mind is creeping up. You know when anxiety is creeping up and depression is creeping up. You can see spirits. The Lord said, he that is spiritual seeth all things, man. Knoweth all things, right? Lest he himself is judged, paraphrasing greatly. So if you're really a spiritual man, you can see things arising. And you have to watch these spirits, man. Because these spirits are definitely watching you. And that makes us more spiritual and more wise to be able to see things that we cannot see. Although the spirits can see us and they follow us and they know us, that was given to them by the Lord. With us, we have to kind of play chess. You know what? Why am I falling right here? You know what? Something's not right. Every time I come around, this spirit is here, and then that's over there. You start to see all things. You start to know how to maneuver around these bricks. You know how to push it in a little stronger to make your temple stronger. The doors a little bit more heavier and weightier so those demons can't kick it down. It says, and this know that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not have suffered his house to be broken through. And you don't never know when these demons are going to come to your house, man. You don't never know. They may be breathing on the wind right now. Breathing on the window. They just watching your house, man. And you don't know. They just waiting for you to fall asleep. They're waiting for you to do your last check. And then you pull that string like the cartoon. And then the light go out. Tick-tink. And then you just finally doze off. And when you dozing off, those demons is watching you right through the window. They gonna bust open the window, kick down the door, and take you while you sleep, man. You gotta watch 24/7. You gotta continue to watch prophecies, watch your mind, watch your spirit, and watch the seasons change. And not physically as far as wintertime and summertime, but the seasons as far as what's going on in Russia, right? Is this that season? It's the leaf falling off the trees, it bearing fruit and this, you know, whatever the case may be. It says this, be ye therefore ready also, for the Son of Man cometh at an hour when ye think not, man. And that goes into laboring too, because you have to watch to understand when and what time the Lord is coming back. And that takes a lot of laboring as well, to be watching the prophecies to understand when and where things are kicking off and happening. This is the mighty book, right, of Judges, chapter 18 and verse number 9. And they said, arise, that we may go up against them, for we have seen the land, and behold, it is very good. And are ye still? Be not slothful to go and to enter to possess the land. So when judges, when they were, doing their thing, taking down these cities, you understand, through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, they told the men, don't be slothful to possess the city. We've seen the land already. And on a deeper level, we have seen the land. We've seen the riches and the promises that the Lord has promised us. And we can see it afar off. We can understand that these things are coming to pass. But we cannot be slothful to possess the land. It says, and they said, arise, that we may go up against them. Meaning it's time to go to war. For we have seen the land. You have seen all of the promises and the riches and the things that the Lord has promised you, man. And behold, it is very good, right? Immortality, slaves, dominion, wisdom, being at a table with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, eating of all of the things and the riches from old and other things which I have not seen and ear have not heard. And are ye still, meaning are you still going to be slothful? Are you still going to sit in the same position, seeing the land, knowing the riches, knowing the promises? Are ye still? Be not slothful to go and to enter to possess the land. And on a deeper level, the Lord is waiting for us. He's waiting for 144,000 men to wake up that are elected still from old to do the works from old so that we can get the kingdom of heaven. But we can't do that if everybody's chilling, everybody's slothful, everybody's relaxing, everybody's acting like we're not living in the last days, man. You gotta act like you're living in the last days. If you're not acting like you're living in the last days, you're not gonna have that certain fear you need to forgive your brother, to show love and mercy, to be perfect, to give alms, to labor more. Like, if you saw, like the Lord say so many times, if you would have known what hour that thief was coming, you would have watched. So we have to act as if the thief is 2 seconds from our door every day of our lives, man. This is the book of Proverbs, right? Chapter 12. Get this quick precept. And 24. The hand of the diligent shall bear rule, but the slothful shall be under tribute. Meaning you'll always be under and not be able to obtain a rulership position and lead if you're not diligent. The Lord is only looking for men to rule his kingdom that are diligent right now. If you're not faithful on that which is little, how can you possess that which is great, man? Let me get the book of Luke, chapter 16, and verse number 10. It's the book of Luke, chapter 16, and verse number 10. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. So if you could wake up in the morning, you can go to work, you can keep your job, you can take care of your family, you can consistently read, you can make sure that things are consistently in order, women are consistently cooking, consistently sewing, changing diapers, they're not crying and not being weak. I mean, if you're faithful in the very least of things, the Lord can trust you into being faithful over that which is many. You have to look at it like that. But if you're slothful and you can't take care of this small lot of a life right now, how can you truly endure and handle true riches? It says, and he that is unjust and least is unjust also in much, man. So you don't want to fumble the bag, like they say, man. You don't want to fumble your house and fumble the nation and fumble, right? It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 15, and verse number 19, and it reads, the way of the slothful man is as an hedge of thorns, but the way of the righteous is made plain. So if you're slothful, the Lord's going to give you over to demons that's going to hedge up your way with thorns. I can't go to work. I don't got a ride. You're hedging your damn self up with thorns. Instead of hitting somebody up for a ride, making it happen, catching the bus, catching the train, making a way, walking. If you're slothful, you're just going to hedge up your way. My wife's wicked. She's going to get judged. No, brother, she needed the precepts. She needed the hope. She needed the counsel. The brother called you for a counsel, but you was too busy sleep, man. You're hedging up your way with all of these thorns. You'll never be able to know the pathway to obtain light, man. That's very important. Let me get this quick precept. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 19 and 24. A slothful man hideth his hand in his bosom, and will not so much as bring it to his mouth again. And that's spiritual. Because when you hide your hand in your bosom is a comfort place, a relaxation and comfort. You know, like you want to be in Abraham's bosom, like you read about in Luke, the 16th chapter, right? Verse 19 all the way down, chiefly around 20 to 23, 24, right? Your bosom, right, is a place of comfort. You know, John rested on Yahweh's bosom. You know, babies, as they nurse, they're upon their mother's bosoms, man. You know, a lot of wives, they lay on their husband's bosom. You understand? Right on their chest. and they relax there. It's a comforting place. But the Lord said, a slothful man hideth his hand in his bosom. Your hand is what you're going to do all your work with. Your hand is going to pick up that Bible. It's going to pick up that sword. It's going to pick up the Apocrypha. It's going to pick up that brick. It's going to pick up the hammer, the chisel. It's going to pick up the nail. If you hiding your hand in a resting place, then it's forever going to be relaxed. It's not going to labor and work with strength. It says, and not so much as bring it to his mouth again. If you're bringing it to your mouth again, what does that mean? It's meaning eating bread, eating, you understand, drinking the milk, drinking the wine, eating the meat, eating the lamb, eating the bitter herbs, eating spiritual food and things to sustain your body so that you could continue to be built up, man. Yahweh Shah is the bread of life. So if your hand is too busy in a resting place, you're not bringing it to your mouth to sustain yourself, to continue to flourish and be built up. But brother, you're going to wax and decay old, man. You're going to go right back to what? The valley of the dry bones. Right back to that dead estate, man. Right? It's Proverbs chapter 21 and verse number 25. The desire of the slothful killeth him, and his hands refuse to labor. The Lord said the desire of the slothful, meaning your excuses. That's your desire. You're desiring to be slothful. The Lord didn't create you to be slothful, man. Put him together like this. And and the Lord just got rid of you, and he was a lump of clay. And he's just in the dirt and the dust. And he's just moving real slow, that nasty piece of clay. No, the Lord, you know what he did? He's the potter. And he made you in what? His image. The Lord didn't make you to be a slothful, man. To sleep all day long. To not care about the nation and your family. To roll over from side to side with excuses and excuses and excuses. The Lord made you and formed you to be diligent, to endure, and to be made in his image, man. What's the Lord's image? The Lord don't sleep. I mean, that's not literal for us because we have to sleep. We're made in these destructible, corruptible bodies. But the Lord don't sleep. The Lord's on fire 24/7. The Lord's always working, never resting. It's the perfect image of what we should follow. I mean, what else do you need, man? Who else can you go to? Who else do you need counsel from? What else do you need to look from and look to, man? Look at the Lord. How diligent he was and how diligent he is to this very day, man. It says this. It says, the desire of the slothful killeth him, for his hands refuse to labor. And that's why the Lord said, work the works of him that sent me while it is the day. The night cometh when no man can sleep. Let me get that real fast in the book of John. So you have to work the works of him that sent me while it is day. Because the night is coming, man. It's the book of John, chapter 9 and verse 4. I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. What do you mean while it is day? Meaning while you can see. The light is in the world. The commandments are in the world. The comforter is in the world. The prophets are in the world. Did not the Lord say, let your light shine before men? The prophets are in the world. The light is here. Because when the nighttime comes, and the Lord remove all of the prophets, the videos, the understanding, and all of the in-depth secrets and mysteries off the internet, you're going to be by yourself in the nighttime. And you could have labored. You could have went harder. You could have obtained more wisdom, but you didn't. You were slothful. It says this, the night cometh when no man can work. There's going to come a time spiritually when the door is going to close on your laboring, man. You're not going to be able to labor like you can labor right now in the days to come. You got to really look at it like that, man. Let me get this quick precept. Let's go to the mighty book, right, of 1 Timothy. Let's go to it. Right? It's the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 5. And I'm going to start at verse 18. For the scripture saith, thou shalt not muzzle the ox that treadeth out the corn. And the laborer is worthy of his reward, man. So the more you put in, there's a reward for that, man. You're not just laboring like a slave so you don't get killed. I don't want to die. I want the Lord to smite me with madness. And then you're sitting up there, a depressed slave to read, man. No. The Lord is going to reward you, man. Crowns, saving your house. Right? When you read, this is a beautiful thing, man. You should get into the scriptures. And it's good because although all the scriptures is the same spirit of Yahushua, you have a different spirit with each book. You got exhortation in certain books. You have common knowledge in certain books. You have prophecy in certain books. All of these things should feed off of whatever that you got going on. If you need laboring, read the book of Acts. Laboring, read the book of 2 Corinthians. If you're going about love and marriage, read the book of Tobit. Read Proverbs. Read Sirach. Get built up in this thing. You want to know about the jot and the tittle? Read the law. Whatever that's going on in your life as a working man in the scriptures and working as far as the nation should be applied by the scriptures, because it says the labor is worthy of his reward, man. You're going to be worthy of the things that the Lord is going to present before you. Let's get the book of Proverbs, chapter 13. It's Proverbs, chapter 13. Let me get this quick piece up. In verse number 22. And it reads, a good man leaveth an inheritance to his children. Salaki, is that what I want? Salaki, bear with me. 22 and 13. The slothful man saith, there is a lion without. I shall be slain in the streets. Right? So, like the Lord said, a slothful man is going to say a lion is without. I mean, he's going to be burdened with 1,000 excuses, man. Start today. Don't have that tomorrow spirit, because there may not be a tomorrow. Say today I'm going to get those chapters in. Today I'm going to call that brother that I said I was going to call him back. Today I'm going to go to camp. I've been watching these brothers, and I've been contemplating about going out. I've been contemplating about taking that drive. It's 30 minutes out, 2 hours out. It's 4 hours out. Brother, stop contemplating everything, man. Make a sound decision in your mind with the precepts and patience. And if you have an understanding of that's what you want to do, brother, what are you waiting on, man? You have to be optimistic. You have to look at things how they're presented to you, not how the Satan is presenting it to you, and take advantage of the opportunity that the Lord puts in front of you, man. Don't say a lion is without, and I should be slain in the streets, because it's of the Lord to slay you in the streets. If you're not slothful when you're pushing forth that best effort, the Lord is going to take care of you. The Lord said in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9 and verse 10, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. Meaning the Lord is saying don't half-ass do anything, man. You don't want to be a so-so builder or a so-so man that's doing things. You want to do it all with your might. If you're going to paint, be the best painter there is to paint, man. If you're going to teach, hey, man, go into these precepts. Write up lessons. Do breakdowns. Treat this thing as it ought to be treated, man. Right? Have all of these breakdowns. Right? Go into these breakdowns to come. Right? Lord willing, I get to them. And I could go into them through the Spirit. Right? But it's a whole lot more to come, man. Right? Lord willing, we got faith on the way. Right? The regenerations of Yahushua. Right? Just did the 4 horsemen yesterday. Right? We're going to go into Genesis. Just did the Syro-Ephraimite wars. The Ark of the Testimony. Most High willing. Right? So, I mean, it's a lot of breakdowns and things you should be occupied in the scriptures with. Right? The Babylonian Empire breakdowns. And this is to motivate you to strive to continue on in this truth. To continue to labor and strive and read and do the work of the Lord, man. The Achaemenic Empire breakdown. Right? Lord willing, that's on the way. Right? The kings of Judah. Right? Let's see what else we got in the cut. And a repentance breakdown coming soon, too. Fruits of the Spirit. All right, that's kind of in the arsenal. Affliction. Examination and prayer. Con. But the Lord said, Salaki, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor and men of skill, but time and chance happeneth to them all. For man also knoweth not his time, as fishes that are taken in an evil net. So you don't know your time. Your time can be very short to endure this truth before the Lord take your spirit, man, and take you out of this thing. So you don't know the time of, revisitation, the Lord getting up with you, right? Let me get this quick precept. Right? Let me get a couple more, right? Let's go to the mighty book of Job. Right, and I got a lot of precepts that I'm not going to have the opportunity and chance to go into, right? Because that's the will of the Most High. Got to get the camp. But nevertheless, right, you could check these scriptures out. The ones that I didn't get to, check those out through the Spirit. All right. That's the book of Job, chapter 33, and verse number 20. So that his life, so I'm gonna start at 20. So that his life abhorreth bread, and his soul dainty meats. It says, so that his life abhorreth. Abhorreth means to hate. Bread, and his soul dainty meats. His flesh is consumed away, that it cannot be seen. So the more you're slothful and relaxed in this world, you're rocking yourself more and more to sleep. And the Lord said your flesh is going to start getting consumed away. Because just like on a physical level, the more you eat, the more your body is going to show that. You may have fat, you may have muscle, whatever the case may be, lean, mass, whatever you want to call it. Your body will show by the amount of food that you've been eating. The same way on a spiritual level. You're supposed to be shining brighter and brighter and brighter until the day of Yahweh. But the more you eat this honey and this wisdom. But the less you eat it, the more dull you're going to be. Right? And that's the spirit. The lights kind of went down. Right? When I said that. That's the Most High. Right? The more you're just going to be just waxing real low. And the more you eat and the more you, like I said, you're going to be more bright, man. It says, and his bones, so like his flesh is consumed away that it cannot be seen, and his bones that were not seen stick out. Yea, his soul draweth near unto the grave, and his life to destroyers. So the more you just not treating this truth like it ought to be treated, your soul's just drawing near and near unto the grave. Meaning you have spirits pulling you, and you can't even perceive you're being pulled. You get into a position to where you're 2 seconds from that pit, and you don't even perceive it. Now, if you're moving extremely slow, you may not even perceive you're moving. That's how cunning and wicked and devising these spirits are, man. It may not drag you, 5 seconds or 5 miles per hour that you can perceive it. It may be extremely slow with pride and extremely slow with rebellion, extremely slow with idolatry or covetousness, extremely slow with whatever that your problem and your situation is. And it's life to the destroyers. The destroyers are the angels. It says, if there be a messenger with them, an interpreter, one among 1,000 to shew unto man his uprightness, then he is gracious unto him, and saith, deliver him from going down to the pit. I have found a ransom. His flesh should be fresher than a child's, meaning he should be born again. She'll always want your flesh to be fresh, right? That's spiritual, man. Because when you're born again, babies don't have any wrinkles, no spot, no blemishes, as if they're newly created and they're beautiful upon the earth. Before any scratches, any cuts, or anything happens to them, they're kind of in their glory, man. It says, he shall return to the days of his youth. And we want to return to the days of our youth. Not physically, but spiritually. When you were ravished with the Lord. When you were thirsty and hungry and wanting that knowledge, and who was King David and how many wives did he have, and he went to war how many times, and your Bible was all beaten up, pages ripped out. All of these different things were going on. You want to go back to the state of your youth, man. You want to feel like a 97-year-old man in this truth. You're on your last leg, your cane is wobbly. And then your zeal wasn't there. You're feeling like you're about to die. No, you want to be born again, day in, day out, reading, ravish. And you could find comedy in the scriptures, man. You could find love. You could cry. It's so many emotions you could feed and learn and be ravished with by going into these scriptures. You're always learning something new. It says, he shall pray unto God, and he will be favorable unto him. He shall see his face with joy, for he will rend unto man his righteousness. I mean, he's going to give you back what you put in. Let me get that in the book of Psalms, chapter 18, and verse number 20. The Lord rewardeth me according to my righteousness. According to the cleanness of my hands have he recompensed me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord, and have not wickedly departed from my God. For all his judgments were before me, and I did not put away his statutes from me. I was also upright before him, and kept myself from mine iniquity. Therefore hath the Lord recompensed me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands in his eyesight. For with the merciful wilt thou shew thyself mercy, and with upright man wilt thou shew thyself upright, and with the pure wilt thou shew thy pure, with the forward wilt thou shew thyself forward. So the Lord's going to give you what you put in. Like I said, you reap what you sow. Put that in, you're going to get that out. All right, let me get two more before I close out. Let's go to the book of Romans. The mighty book of Romans, chapter 12, and verse number 11. Not slothful in business, fervent in the spirit, serving the Lord, man. The Lord, that's a commandment. You have to be fervent in the spirit. When you're not fervent, that shows a lot of things with your spirit. It shows a lack of confidence. It shows a lack of determination. It shows a lack of willpower. It shows a lack of consistency. You want to be fervent, not slothful in business. And there's a lot of business that we're attending to as a nation of people, man. I mean, from our houses to physically in this world to survive, right? To how we move and do things and structure our lives. It says, fervent in the spirit, serving the Lord, rejoicing in hope, patience in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer, distributing to the necessity of the saints, given to hospitality. So the Lord wants you to rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, continuing and instant in prayer, man. These are the things that are going to help us to be able to sustain ourselves in this truth, right? This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 6, and verse 6. And it reads, go to the ant, thou sluggard, and consider her ways, and be wise. So, I mean, you know, not to be funny, but you might have to literally do that before, man. You might have to literally do that. Whether you go outside, you kind of look and kind of see the ant. That's not written to just be, you know, a mystery. Yo, go to the ant. No, that's literal, man. Go to the ant if you have to. I've studied the ant before. You know, there are a lot of geographical things that you could look up on YouTube where you could kind of look at the ant and kind of see how he moves. You know, I kind of went on Google, how long does it take for an ant to build its colony? How long does it take for an ant, you want to understand, a dig that underground tunnel? Because in a colony, you have an underground tunnel. And this underground tunnel, sometimes it goes 4 feet down, or even longer, sometimes shorter. And then when it rains, everything that they built is coming to naught. You mow the grass, you stomp another predator, a mouse, a rabbit, right? A squirrel, a cat, any and everything, because ants are so small, destroys their nation and their habitat. So they have to build all over again. And food isn't easy to be found for an ant. That's why they go out in packs, you understand? And they go out, you understand, as if they're a nation of people and that they're an army, and they go upon the slaughter. And they're stronger in numbers like that. You rarely see an ant by himself. It says this, go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler. So an ant don't have no guide, man. So it's telling you on a deeper level, you don't always need somebody to tell you what to do and how to guide you. You should study the Lord, study laboring, study a slothful man and how he moves, and study animals and insects that can continuously labor, man. It says having no guide, overseer, or ruler. When do you see one ant and then you see the big ant? It's 1,000 of them going. It's just one ant like this, kind of looking at the other, and you don't see that. It says, how long? So like, I'm gonna start at 8. Provide her meat in the summer, and gathereth her food in the harvest. So she knows when it's gonna be hard. So she gathering up all of the food, you understand, for her meat for the summertime, and gathering her food for the harvest, like a bear in hibernation. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. That's one day off. That's what the Lord's saying, man. One day off. One absent from reading. One time you just skip camp to check in and make sure that you got up with your sleep. And, one time you make provisions. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth. Your poverty is all of the riches and wisdom that the Lord gave you. They're likened unto jewels and rubies. So you're going to be poverty. You're going to be poor and poverty, right? It says, and thy want as an armed man, because wisdom is more precious than any jewel, like it says in Proverbs 8th chapter. So all of the jewels and wisdom and the gold chains and things that you've obtained by wisdom that brings you to honor on a spiritual level, you're going to be impoverished and you're going to be poor and you're going to be stripped from that. And you're not going to have anything to show for it, right? This is Proverbs chapter 24. Let me get this last precept. In verse 30, I went by the field of the slothful. So the Lord, he's traveling to and fro through the hand of the angels. And he's visiting the field of the slothful. Now you may be, traveling throughout your life, and you may be at this field spiritually, man. You may have just left being zealous and on fire, and you may just left, Passover and Feast of Tabernacles, or whatever the case may be, throughout your journey in this truth. And now you're starting to enter into the field of slothfulness, man. Because you're just taking days off. It says, and by the vineyard of a man void of understanding. And lo, it was all grown over with thorns and thistles, and covered the face thereof, and the stone wall was broken down. The stone wall broken down is your protection. Everything that you built, you understand, in this truth, you're fasting, you're praying, you're reading, everything that you built up in the protection of the hedge is going to all be broken down. That protected you. And it's going to all be filled with thorns and thistles. Then I saw and considered it well, and looked upon it, and received instruction. Meaning sometimes the Lord is going to have to show another man's position and lot to be overtaken and broken down for you to see how serious this actually is. The Lord may have to show you, you know what? He may remove this brother of the truth. Give him unto vanity, homosexuality, or any type of demonic spirit for you to say, well, damn, that could happen to me. It says, then I saw and considered it well. I looked upon it and received instruction. So look at all of these accounts. Don't look at that brother for just being wicked by falling out the truth. Don't look at this sister by giving unto spirits and slothfulness and abandoning her family, or whatever the case may be. It's just spirits. No, it's instruction. You're marking that. You're watching that. That's an account for you to apply to your life so that you don't be next. The Lord will build you up. He'll break you back down. And that's not all for you to just shake your head at. No, it's for you to examine and to apply to your life as well. That's receiving true instruction. And a wise man would do that. Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man. So the Lord is telling you, man, just a little sleep, going back into that position, you understand, that you just came from, is going to rock you back into the congregation that it did. Right? Let me get this closing precept. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 3 and verse 2. Be watchful and strengthen the things which remain that are ready to die. For I have not found thy works perfect before God. Remember therefore how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast and repent. If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come on thee as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee. So the Lord told you to strengthen up things that remain. And something that may be falling on you is your work ethic, your strength, your zeal, and slothfulness is creeping in. So continue to strengthen that up. You understand why you still have time. For the Lord completely takes that from you, and you don't have anything to show for it. He made an example throughout the whole nation, the household, and everybody that once looked upon you as being the light. So continue to read, pray, and fast, and make your body a living sacrifice. With that, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, by Hashem HaMashiach, Malak Yahushua. Shalom.